I'm Christian Lamitschka, and today I present you Connie Kis Anderson. Connie, country music has many new fans in Europe who may be hearing about you for the first time. How would you describe yourself and the music you play to someone who's never seen or heard you before?
Oh, well, actually, I was just asked this question the other day, and I've sort of said my influences are broad, and if you add a bit, all my songs as a songwriter, as a woman, I write about good, bad, and ugly love. Throw in a couple of little songs that are about messages, community messages, and then I sort of add a sprinkling of different styles and flavour and a country production, and that's what you got. Pretty traditional country production. So, yeah, it's different. It's outside of the contemporary country mould, but it's more within the traditional, and it's unique to me. So that's how I describe it. Yeah.
Your current single is being played by the radio. So what do you think is special about this song that makes people want to hear it?
Well, the song that I have out to radio in the US at the moment is a song called Once Again. It's the title track of from my album, and it is really a very, if you want to go down that path of traditional song in terms of it has a story, it has a story with a twist, it has a really very traditional production, and it really is the ultimate cheating song. It's a song about infidelity, but it tells it through a long way around. So that in a sense, is what is unique to it.
What kind of songs do you like to record the most?
I like to record anything that's a good song. To me, I don't really care from the genre of songs, but for me, it's I have to own the song, and then I will. So, on my album, for example, I do a song called "Wicked Game," which Chris Isaac he wrote. I wish I had written it, and that really moves me as a singer. So I've recorded that one, but then I've also recorded about 10 others of my own, and so the songs that actually move me most are the ones that I record, and they don't always have to fit into a niche, sort of. It's really what the message or the mood of the song takes.
Who do you look up musically, and how deep do your musical roots run?
Well, any child who starts playing an instrument at 8 years old, the musical roots are deep. My first instrument was a banjolin, and I played I played on the local town hall between the ages of 8 and 11. But my first professional gig was we were living in the country, and Slim Dusty, who is one of Australia's icons, he would do his travelling tours, and he would involve the local talent, and I was there playing music on his show as one of his guests. And interestingly enough, even though he did Australian country, the songs that were sung were like Hank Williams, Take These Chains From My Heart. So that's how deep they go, and how far back they go.
In your opinion, what's the biggest difference between traditional and new country music?
That's a good question. I think what's happening in terms of the storyline is being lost slightly, in terms of when I learnt about a good song. The song had a beginning, middle, and end, had a bit of a twist, had a bit of interest. Sort of today's contemporary country certainly still has a message, but it doesn't necessarily have that real story. The traditional instruments of pedal steel and fiddle aren't probably as prominent in the mix that you can hear, even though they might be there, but not as prominent as they used to be. And of course there's that analogy where people are saying that today's country is 80s rock with a little bit of fiddle and pedal steel. So I guess that is it's very melodic still, and I think that's why it's very popular. Sort of.
Are you doing anything to take country music beyond its current borders, or are you happy where it is?
Well, I think it's more about taking music to people, to audiences, and one of the things that I'm not kidding, I'm no spring chicken, so it's sort of like, one of the things that I've noticed is that there's a generation of listeners out there who have not had any new music apart from what they grew up with, and that cannot relate to the new contemporary music. So in a sense, I'm bringing music to a generation of listeners it's still contemporary, still has a new feel, but it's also traditional in its production. So, and in terms of, like when I just mentioned I recorded Wicked Game, I try and take some songs that were very contemporary in their time and add that country, if you want, feel to the song, so that we can draw in listeners who tend to have that allergy, if we want to. I call it an allergy to country music, you know, because they.
What inspired you to become an artist?
I don't think there's any sort of. I don't think it can be inspiration. I think it's just there. Especially as I mentioned before, when you play music at 8 years old. You know, I've had a career before I've always been a musician, always played, always, but as the recording artist, it's always been there regardless of what other job I've had. And I don't think there's even an inspiration there. It's almost a purpose. It's almost like you're driven. And my husband is fearful that he'll still be carrying my speakers when I'm 80 to the next gig because I'll be still singing, you know.
So, what's unique about you that differentiates you from other artists?
Well, I think I've sort of alluded to that. I'm the sort of person that has always been a musician. I'm a woman. I have had a career in education, all the time following my stress management. My passion was music. My livelihood was education, and yet one of the things when I decided to set that education and let go of my fears, for want of a better word, as far as my comfort, I have still pursued my passion, which is music. I feel that I'm honouring my talent, and I am, in a sense, I see for me that I'm an example for other women. Just don't lose sight of where you want to go. You know, hang on to your dreams, live your dreams, and play your music, and who cares? You know, about how, whether it's in mainstream or what.
When you get time off, how do you like to relax?
Oh, well, I ride horses. What do you think? I've been riding horses for years and years and years. So horse riding is
Okay.
you can't get, you can, the common thing is the country, but you can't get further away from music, I think, riding horse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what private hopes and desires do you have?
Private hopes? Well, now I shouldn't be talking on camera if they're private hopes. In terms of how my music will impact, I can perhaps tell you that private. And my first album was a song called an album called Gone Wishing. And the title track on that was a song, a message song, not a love song. And it was a love song to the community about world peace, written in a very weird and back to front way, which we tend to do. And it was a song about how our world situation affects our children, and that is what one of my personal and private, and that's one of the reasons why I still maintain, because I think as an artist we have and we can have a little bit of influence on people in terms of our integrity, the way we like to tango through life. And I hope that I will have a positive influence.
Thanks, Connie, for the interview, and hope to see you next time.
Thank you for having me.